Hey, everybody. Elizabeth Benton here. Thanks so much for joining me. I've got an episode of the podcast coming out, but I wanted to take a minute and talk about it here on YouTube because this is something that comes up a lot. I probably had 5 conversations with clients this week around when people bring in food that doesn't support your goals and what do we do about it? Specifically, somebody said, and like I said, I'm going to talk about this a lot on the podcast next week. How do I deal with the junk that my family brings in the house, specifically the junk food this person was referring to? And I wanted to talk about this because this was a major sticking point for me. In fact, I wrote in my first book, Chasing Cupcakes, about how for the longest time, my secret wish was to be on the show The Biggest Loser, because I felt like if I was just in an environment where there wasn't any junk food, then I would be successful. If I was just in an environment where I had a trainer there to train me every day, I would be successful. And I had this belief that I couldn't be successful if my environment was full of temptation. And I was married to my first husband at the time, and he and I ate in very different ways. I was really trying to lose weight. That wasn't a priority for him. And I really believed that I was limited in my choices because of the treats and the snacks that he brought in. And when I think about it now, and when I hear this from my clients now, I'm like, man, what a disempowering point of view. I get it because I had that point of view, but what it meant was I was powerless. If you brought in donuts to work, well, I was doing so well, but then of course, when I'm trying to eat healthy, somebody brings in donuts, or I was doing so well, but then I went to this party and it was just cupcakes and booze. The truth of the matter is that I really didn't think of at the time was that I needed to develop in myself the ability, the practice, the confidence to succeed no matter what was around me. Because even if I could get my family to stop bringing junk food into the house, that's one environment of endless environments I'm in. There's work, there's church, there's dinners out, there's parties, there's holidays, there's vacations. And if we believe that we are limited based on what other people put in front of us, we have no power. And the truth is, you have all the power. You just don't yet have the skill. The other night, I'm going through a major purge phase of stuff and clutter again. And I was going through old journals that I've held on to. I'm like, I don't need to keep this. I just need to mine through it, see, if I want to take pictures of some stuff. Anyway, one of the things that I saw in my journal from 2016 said, there's a difference between a goal and a practice. See, I had a goal of eating really clean, but I didn't have a practice. I had a desire that was contingent on my circumstances, and I would let myself off the hook. And in fact, not only let myself off the hook, I would abdicate all personal responsibility as soon as somebody brought in a treat. If my husband brought home ice cream, if my coworker brought in donuts, if my company ordered pizza, well, I was doing so well, but somebody always seems to want to throw me off course. No, I need to know that I own, control, and influence my choices in any situation. My environment does not control me. I was thinking about how far I've come in this area the other night. I was at like a girls' night kind of event, potluck, everybody brings stuff, and there's lots of alcohol and lots of treats. And not only did I not feel bothered by it, I felt totally in control of my decision to eat ahead of time and not eat or drink while I was there. It was a later thing, so I don't typically eat at 7 or 8 at night. So why would I, just because I was going to this situation? And you know what I needed in order to get to that point? I didn't need to rid my environment of any and all temptations. I needed exposure so that I could practice discipline, self-control. And for me, a big one was the difference between indulging and overindulging. So how do we deal with the family that brings in junk food, which was the original question that I'm going to elaborate on in an upcoming podcast episode? The truth of the matter is, you need to work on you and how you make decisions. Because if your criteria for decision making is proximity, it's here, or it's gifting, somebody brought this, so now I feel like I have to, because then we've lost any sort of value-centered decision making. It doesn't matter if somebody brings me cookies because they're just being sweet. I don't have to eat them. I make the decisions based on values. I certainly can. It's not a problem if I do, but how do we ultimately want to make decisions? I wish somebody had told me 10 plus years ago, hey, this thing that you're seeing as a barrier is actually the very exposure you need to develop the skill that you need but don't yet have. And you can't develop that skill isolating yourself and expecting every single circumstance to support your goals. It's not going to. For the rest of your life, it's not going to. Whether we're talking about spending, drinking, eating, or anything in between, we need to develop the skill. We need to. We have to. There's no way around it. We need to develop the skill of feeling in control and being in control no matter our circumstances. That's not going to happen overnight. It's not a simple decision, but we in fact need the exposure. So let's not see it as a problem. It's just an area where we need to practice. There is a difference between a goal and a practice. It doesn't mean you stay away from it all the time, always, but it does mean that you can identify and implement an incremental improvement. That means a tiny step, a tiny step. Stop trying to stay away from it completely if you've been full bore enjoying it for months or years. A small improvement, a tiny thing. What might that be for you? What is the tiny improvement that you might make? We're going to be taking this show live really soon. I'm still in the process of figuring out the equipment and the setup and the tech stuff, but hopefully in the next couple of weeks. So if you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so that you don't miss it when we take the show live. And then the next step after that is to have a call-in option so that you can call in. I'm very excited. We've got a lot of stuff coming. I'm really glad you're here. And I'll see you over on the Primal Potential podcast because we're going to be going deeper into this topic with 3 specific tactics that can help you make a change. See you over on the podcast.